I know how the Game of Thrones will end. Trump wins. Could our own election and the years leading up to it have been anything more like the Game of Thrones? The Republicans really not doing anything, blocking everything, um, waiting for their turn to come to power, creating the conditions, which has happened. And what else has been really since 9/11? Band of Brothers, The Pacific, those are miniseries that were popular. I watch, glorifying the greatest generation. But in a certain way, I don't think we'll be seeing series like that for a while, where our people are actually on the front line, killed, maimed, having to do terrible things, admittedly mainly to enemy soldiers. But they were at one time working on a mini series about the Eighth Air Force in World War II. That I could see coming out. It hadn't gotten off the ground, but you could imagine that working in our new environment where we kill people with drones using PlayStations in Nevada. The Eighth Air Force really inaugurated that daylight precision bombing over Germany. Japan got the British technique of area bombing, just burn them down. So Eighth Air Force could fit, the new psychology. I noticed that since the election, since Trump won the Game of Thrones, even music sounds different. Music that last week would have, already sounds dated. I think I was listening to some rap or hip hop or whatever, and it already sounded like it was from a different era. Um, there's already political songs that are anti-Trump, if you will. A bunch of those, I was surprised they're already there. Bing. Um, but I'm just going to talk here some movies like Hunger Games. Little did we know was actually going on right here. Although in the Hunger Games, I had to stop watching after the second or partway through the second. Presumably there's a revolution at the end in what looks like West Virginia, um, and we've got our own, right? Which is pretty cool. Um, the Walking Dead. My second oldest, my teenage son, has been into that for years, and I've wondered about that. I mean, I grew up, we had zombie movies, but I don't remember anything like this. Um, what's that all about? Well, who are the zombies? Of course, we identify with the survivors, but the zombies we saw were all Americans. Turned into it by what? This barrage about turning us into a security state. Frankly, all the infighting amongst the survivors. Trying to constantly bar themselves in, which is what like this wall is all about. This constant fear since 9/11. But I think also maybe being turned into zombies in terms of what we consume, how we consume it, with all the gadgets, the distance it creates between people, all the cheap crap from China, which maybe lasts a week and then it's broken. I mean, some of it's fine, I suppose. I've got my share, I'm pretty sure. Or from Mexico. The brakes that just went on my car. Bing, I asked the mechanic. Post Trump, let's check the box. Mexico. Can I get the expensive ones? um, the Hunger Games, the zombie stuff. I always wondered what happened with the vampire movies. When I grew up, we killed vampires. Dead. And here, that your daughters date them and they have good hair and drive nice cars. And I realized, who are they most like? They're most like the 1%. They want to live forever. They keep going with the looks, plenty of money, powers, superpowers, relative to humans anyway. They suck your blood. But instead of fighting them, people are joining up with them. I don't know if that's going to happen now. I mean, in a sense, they are. Is this the culmination? Voting for Mr. Trump, President elect Trump? Uh, is he the vampire or is he the vampire hunter? Remains to be seen. It should be exciting. We're living in our own adventure. And of course, there are the people around him. I think the Wesley Snipes movies, Blade, did a nice job of showing the people around the vampires, the people that hang on to the 1%, the sycophants. I forget what their name was. I mean, that's always true in any age around the powerful or the rich and famous. The rest of us just lap it up, the whole thing with royalty. Anyway, um, I think I'm looking for what are going to be the new kinds of entertainment, the new kinds of movies. I was at the library, movies that I might have rented or books I might have checked out even a week ago. You know, they don't resonate. Foyle's War. I mean, how about Downtown Abbey? Downtown Abbey. Are people going to want to watch that? The thing about the Game of Thrones is, George R. R. Martin. I've watched very little of it, mainly the commentary, which I find fascinating. Based on the War of the Roses. So Martin, an anti-war guy. So someone talk about him like that because of when he grew up, and if the parts that I've seen, a handful of people, the 7 families that are fighting over the throne, oligarchs, all causing the deaths of thousands of people through their decisions and their ambition. There's also, religious fanatics, um, and people turning on each other. They're not even zombies, and they're doing that. So, Game of Thrones, people are speculating, are they going to come together in some way and fight the outside menace, the White Walkers, who are going to break through the wall? I mean, if it ends that way, if it had done that before this election, how would you feel about it? Is Martin going to change what he's doing? Because the mood of the country's got to be different, right? The things that have been said, the emotions that have been raised, the things that have raised emotions, reaction and counter reaction. Art is very powerful. People are like, oh my God, the polls misled us. Well, part of the problem is not just you doing a better poll, is only looking at the polls. Really only talking about politics, because American society is very diverse. There's a huge horizontal element. It's great to be an expert in something. There's something to be said for looking at what's going on in other spheres of life, as well as in the lives of others. What's going on in the arts, which are getting dumped on in the public schools. Music, film, TV, literature, paintings, sculptures, dance. I mean, what about Hamilton? How do you account for the success of that? That guy is really a globalist. He was a nationalist. Today, he'd probably be a globalist. At that time, he was seen as an enemy of the people by Jefferson and the small people. The ones that wanted the Electoral College would have been opposed to Hamilton. He wanted a central bank, So it's interesting, that musical about an American hero done in a variety of musical forms. I wonder if the success of that will continue. Maybe we'll keep an eye on the ticket sales for Hamilton to see which way the country's going, because the quality of the show won't change. The show will have straddled the election. But a fad's a fad, right? Do you want to be able to say, I got tickets to Hamilton? Good luck, America.